Welcome to beautiful Berowra. Unfortunately, we have a nut job operating at the moment who are destroying the political signs that are put up prior to an election. That's Julian Leeser, he's a Liberal candidate, but it's not just his sign getting trashed. I know the person who puts the Labor signs up, and it's got so bad this election, that's a federal election, they've had to mount their signs on an aluminium A-frame, and they've also had to chain that to the tree. Yeah, maybe that's a great start to this video. Okay, this is a fairly serious video looking at criminal activity around political posters. On March 28, 2025, the federal government in Australia called a federal election. The election date is May 3. So this allows about 5 weeks for political parties to advertise and sell their political ideas to the voting public. Voting in Australia is compulsory. Now, what I noticed in the suburb where I live, which is Berowra, and the electorate is called Berowra, political posters were appearing and disappearing at an alarming rate. I've been in Berowra for nearly 20 years and I've never seen activity like this. The only safe place for posters were areas covered by security cameras, maybe sometimes in someone's front yard on their front fence. They were not being touched, and if it was a well-lit area. If political signs were put in areas that were dark at night, mysterious forces would play out and these signs would be destroyed by the morning. What caught my attention and others in the suburb was the extremely high frequency of this type of activity. Signs that were being erected after being destroyed were not even lasting 12 hours before they were destroyed again. It seems like someone has an axe to grind, and it was affecting the two major parties that were being represented in Berowra. But this problem is not just Berowra-centric. This problem affects all political parties across the whole of Australia. The consensus is that the damage to political signs is the worst that it's ever been. I'm a strange sort of person. I like to solve mysteries, and after speaking to the person who puts up the Labor signs and hearing his story, and he's been putting political signs up for a long time, I thought to myself, wow, I think I need to do something here to see what's going on. I knew Julian Leeser's sign was being trashed only hours after being re-erected, so I focused on that sign and used the trees around that sign to put a trail cam up. I had no experience with this trail cam. The first time I used it out of box. So it was just a case of the trail cam triggering as people went by. And in my mind, I thought it's going to be some grumpy old man who's had enough of the political system in Australia. But to my surprise, look who turns up. I've looked at this footage many times. I've shared it with many people in the suburb that I know. There's been a lot of talk and chatter about this. Of course, they see it without the face being blurred. I've got to blur the face here for YouTube. And I'll tell you what, the clarity that this camera has captured, and you can see the face really clearly, is just amazing. And the thing that I see going on here, which relates back to the times I've seen the sign trashed before, is it's not just pushing the sign over, it's the double stamp. It's the foot into the head of Mr. Leeser, which is the part that sort of worries me. And I've also seen that the sign gets pushed right up into the bush at times. And you'll see this up the end of the video. The sign is trashed again and gets pushed right up into the bush. To me, it's quite concerning footage. The area is very dark where this is happening. So this is a coward doing this. There's nothing brave about pushing the sign over. And the people who've seen this, they just go, this isn't Berowra. I'm saying, well, wake up everyone. Welcome to the new Berowra that we've got. When I show this footage to other people, the very first thing they say just about every time is why? Why are people going around stomping on political signs? The general rule in life is if it's not yours, don't touch it. But on a more serious level, the crime here is interference with political liberty. And that has attached to it some very hefty fines and some fairly lengthy times in jail. Apart from why, I query what is the motivation. Is this person anti-government? Are they a lone wolf type of person? Or are they connected to another political party? Anyway, let's go back to the same site after the sign was re-erected and we'll see what's gone on. I keep coming back to the signs. The Labor sign is very difficult to touch because I spoke about how it's set up at the start of the video. And the other thing the gentleman did who sets this up, he put branches here. It's actually very, very hard to get in close to put the boot in, okay, because we know the way the sign Stomper works. I learned a lot from talking to the person who puts up the Labor signs. They've done that for a long time He said he's never seen it so bad. And unfortunately, it looks like last night the sign Stomper has struck again. And I think looking at it like this here, the sign was put here, but you can see the sign has been pushed right back. There's another leg to the sign there, and the sign's been pushed right back to the trees there. Shows a lot of malice going on in my books, and I think the best thing I can say at the moment, the cogs of justice are turning against the sign Stomper. The constant has been when the signs are put up here, they're gone within hours. And that made me think, well, who's doing it? Is it kids? Is it someone with an axe to grind? The only way to find out is to put a camera up. But is there multiple sign Stompers? That's the thing we don't know. But from what I can see with the Julian Leeser sign, it's the same style of damage being done over and over and over. And that speaks volumes to me that we've only got one sign Stomper. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. And I don't know Julian Leeser, I'm not a political person, but I'm going to put his sign back up, and I'm sure if I get into trouble for this video and I end up in jail, that Julian will come to the rescue. I'll put the sign here, find some soft earth, and I bet you that people will see me doing this and I'll be blamed for pulling down the sign. I'll need to grab a rock, always checking for funnel web spiders first. Okay, that one's a clean one, lucky me. And with this rock, I can reset this post back into the ground. Give the sign Stomper another target for tonight. I'll put the broken piece of stick at the front of the sign, I'll pound that in, and I'll stop the sign from coming forward in the wind. There we go, Julian Leeser's sign is re-erected. It looks fantastic, and you know what, I'm feeling a bit naughty. I'm thinking tonight I'm going to wait over in the bushes here and I'm going to pounce on the sign Stomper. Boy, I'm going to have fun. I'm waiting. I think we can have some fun together. I know people will ask, what trail cam did you use? A picture tells 1,000 words. I have no affiliate links, so I'm not flogging you this thing. And I wouldn't suggest anything unless I've used it for a period of time and worked out if it's good or bad. Maybe in a year's time, once I've used this trail cam a number of times, I can tell you what I really think about it. What I did do is I went to the YouTuber Hunting Farmer to understand the best trail cam settings. He has some great advice in setting up these devices. There's a lot of trail cams in the marketplace. A lot of them have exactly the same interface, but the thing I liked about this trail cam was it worked out of box. It recorded 64 events between 5:30 p.m. and 8 a.m. the next morning. The thing that I noticed was the way it triggered. It was basically capturing anybody who walked along the path in front of the political sign. And the icing on the cake was the clarity of picture that it captured at night. I only need to see this joker once and we've got some great images from this trail cam. I set the recording time up for 20 seconds because I thought to myself, if I was going to trash the sign, how long would it take? I think it'd be done and dusted within 10 seconds, and that's what happened. I only focused on this because this mystery needed to be solved, and this sort of childish and illegal activity needed to be stomped out. No pun intended.